Coming up this week on Beyond the Vibe, we're talking with Grace and Aaron of When Rivers Meet.
Probably like you guys, we got the live stream. Everyone's like jumping on live stream. It's like no, I don't want to do that.
We wanted to try and keep it as live sounding as possible. The beginning part is actually a fly flying into the microphone.
We've both been obsessed with music and performing and playing, and we also we're really good being together a lot of the time because it doesn't suit a lot of people, but for us we're
really lucky in that regard, aren't we? And we're together 24/7, so literally
I've been a complete nightmare today though, like a complete
I wasn't going to
nightmare.
say anything.
But since you brought it up.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Vibe, the show that cuts deep into the world of music.
My name is Aaron Day, lead guitarist of UK band These Wicked Rivers, and I'm here with the one, the only, the magnificent music videographer and photographer. It's Mr. Ryan Vasey.
Yes. How has your week been?
But it's been alright. I've got, for those that don't know at home, I've got chickens. One of them does this thing where I come home at night because I leave them out all day. I trust them. I've got them in the little fortnights. It's electrified.
Electrified.
Yeah, we've lost 8 chickens so far.
I was going to say there's probably one left.
But it's alright because sun's coming out in it, so when they fly over and go bark, and they fly four things down. Yeah. I'm a vegetarian, so I shouldn't joke about fried chickens. But no, it's not electrified, but they do tend to stay in. And then what one of them's tended to do is somehow escape. Don't know how. So I'm like Chicken Run. I'm like the old guy in Chicken Run. He stands by the window and he's like, "Them chickens are up to something." And I'm like standing there, and Jay's like, "Come away from the window, come away!" And I came out, and the white one is now escaped and now standing on the neighbour's fence. So I don't know how she's got a fucking eye. She's got up this.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
She somehow got up there, and then I have to go up and wake her up by grabbing her under the arse. And at this point, she's like, "What?"
Nice.
And then I have to bring her down and lower her back in while she's basically just been woken up. And I've had to do that on numerous occasions this week. So that's been a nightmare.
Sounds like an exciting week.
It's chicken update. Chicken update. How's your week been?
I've had an interesting neighbour.
Have you? Chicken neighbour?
Yeah. No, my neighbour who is a little eccentric.
If you're listening.
Yeah.
It's positive. It's positive.
I very much doubt it.
I they are.
I don't think they've discovered fire yet. But, what they decided to do, at the bottom of their yard, they've got what used to be like the old outhouses. Because they're like these houses.
I've been to yours, it's horrible.
They're really old.
I hide in it when you go to bed. But moving on.
Well, they had one of these, and there's like there was this little window with it. So what they decided to do to make the place look a little bit nicer was to just brick it up.
Just brick it up.
Yeah,
just brick out the outhouse window.
And then earlier on today, it was nice and sunny today at the time of recording this. The guy decided to just sit out on his backyard that he's randomly dug holes in now as well, shirtless in his shorts, just admiring his work.
Admiring his bricked out outhouse.
Yeah, just admiring that. I thought,
what's he got in the outhouse that he don't want to see through the window?
What is
anything.
it? What's he storing in
Maybe he tried to make bread like everyone has done the lockdown, and he put all his bread that went wrong in the outhouse. I can't look at it, Mary.
I don't know. I was looking from my top window and I just thought, like, what are you doing?
I imagine you at the top window, like, my neighbours are up to something.
I know. He was just sat there. He was just like laying out, like, really nice. Like, just admiring his work. It's all it is.
He's proud, man. Yeah, but he's proud. I bet you've never bricked out an outhouse window, have you? Exactly.
There's not much workmanship.
Leave him alone. He's digging his holes. He's happy. Who are we chatting to this week, Mr. Basin?
We have When Rivers Meet this week.
Oh, yes. Another band of the River family.
Yes.
Similar to...
That's true.
To me and the boys.
As I was thinking about that, we've kind of got a trilogy of rivers. We've got, obviously, These Wicked Rivers. We now have When Rivers Meet. And we also have Howling Tide as well.
Yeah. Well, we've got a joint Facebook group that's called something like These Adjective Water something with the Howling Tides. So we should do a joint water tour, man.
Yeah, I feel that there's something water based by a river as well.
Get it to be some sponsored by Severn Trent. We could get Burton Water as well on all the shows. Do you know what I mean? We could shower Hart. We could put Hartwell in the river. sorted. But yeah, cool guys. We've really enjoyed the chat.
Yes.
Like, I felt like it was just really nice. Like really nice guys. I know we say that about all the bands we talked to, and that's because they're all fucking good guys. But particularly with Grace and Aaron, it felt like it was just a really positive vibe, and I like their relationship. It's hard when the fact that they live together and there's that 24-hour thing, and the fact they're able to produce positive music, because obviously for Fleetwood Mac and bands similar, when there's relationships involved, it didn't really
go very well for them, did it?
Produce magic though,
Yes.
But they're obviously coming out from a more positive angle, and we had a really good chat with them, didn't we?
Yes, and you can hear that now.
Hello, we're here with Grace and Aaron from When Rivers Meet. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Oh,
Hello,
pleasure.
good
Thank
to
you
be
for having us.
So one thing that we like to do on the show is we like to go right back to the beginning. So let's go back to the beginning for you both. Individually, when was the first moment you knew that you wanted to play music? And was it like straight to vocals, or was there a particular instrument that you took on at the start of your journey?
Well, it's kind of easy for me. I don't remember the moment. I've always been obsessed with singing and music, like completely obsessed. Yeah. So as early, like there's recordings of me where my uncle was getting me to sing at like 3 or something stupid. So always been really obsessed, and then went through like all different musical instruments, like flute, clarinet, saxophone, like just wanted piano, all different things. Yeah. And then eventually fell onto mandolin and violin, which is what I play now, but always singing's always been like an obsession.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same in that regard. I remember being in the bedroom, got the old records playing, CDs and all that sort of thing, just singing my heart out. My old man kept telling me to shut up all the time. Stop making so much racket up there, that sort of thing. And then, sort of playing guitar, and
cool.
So I don't think there's ever been any question. No. As soon as I remember the first time we got on stage together, and Aaron hadn't done anything for a little while, and I was like, oh, this is going to be so weird, like singing together, like, are we going to be very confident? And we got on. I remember looking at Aaron and just thinking, okay, we're not going to have any problem here. Okay, it's like,
yeah, love it, absolutely love it.
Did you both have that? Because for me and Ryan in particular, like, we grew up with quite intent fathers that were quite you're going to be into this sort of music. This is the journey that I've got for you. Did you guys have that under an upbringing from your individual parents? Was it your own journeys that you took from friends, or just from music in the house?
I mean, the influences that I got from my dad was like rock and roll.
And they were definitely forced.
Definitely forced. Yeah. So it's like rock and roll, basically. Anything 60s was good. Everything else is crap.
That was pretty similar to me, man. Like.
Yeah. That's the way it goes, isn't it? Yeah. And I'm probably going to be one of them dads one day too. You never know.
I only listen to rock music.
Only listen to rock, blues, and that's it. Nothing else matters. Yeah. That's probably the way it's going to go. But so.
Yeah, I think, and I definitely had. Aaron was a big influence on me, because my dad loved soul music, so like Dusty Springfield, and then Mum loved the Beatles, and then like my sister influenced me with her era of music, like Oasis and stuff. Never really loved that kind of vibe, but then you introduced me to
classic
the rock, because we met when I was working in a pub, his local pub, and it was a rock pub, so it was so cool, and all the music they were playing, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. It's like Led Zeppelin and like
Led Zeppelin and Free and Bad Company and things
oh my god, this is
Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses.
And then Aaron like educated me on all the music, so Aaron's a big part of my education, really.
It's beautiful, mate, isn't it, when you find somebody that's not been on that journey, and it's like, there's so much. Just sit down, I'll get you. Sit down. You never heard of Free? Oh, he said sit down. You're going to be here a while.
Well, I introduced it to Paul Rogers as well, didn't I?
I know.
That's it. Paul Rogers is the man.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
cool. Yeah. So in terms of When Rivers Meet, then how did the idea of the band start, and did you both have that sonic vision of like a contemporary blues rock sound from the start, or did that evolve over time?
Definitely evolved over time. Yeah,
we had no clear vision.
No, none at all. It was just a case of we both play music, and we were in our own project, shall we say, for quite a while before we decided to say or to think that actually we could actually do something together. never even occurred to us, to be honest.
No, it took like years.
Yeah, it did literally take that long. And so we just started playing some stuff together, and it ended up being like Americana-y kind of vibe.
And we were playing for a few years. We were like doing a few gigs, and we were playing at the weekends, but we weren't loving it. And I remember like feeling like, this is like my life's passion. Like, why? What? I'm really not kind of enjoying it. So we're like, we actually went to a concert. We went to a Guns N' Roses concert, and I was really pissed. And I remember standing up and going, "This is what it is. We need to rock out."
I can't believe it didn't dawn on us before, considering that's what we love. You know,
we need to be a rock band. This is what we need. And because like if we go to a gig, like then we were playing like sort of Americana music, but we went to rock concerts, like and blues stuff concerts. So. Yeah. It was as soon as we then started like, right, let's write some rock blues music, which was like 2 or 3 years ago, and then we were fine.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And it was all made sense.
It was literally in front of our faces. We just could not see it. How strange.
That's cool. Your debut EP, the Uprising EP, was released in April 2019, followed by the second EP in May 2020, and then finally your debut album in November of the same year. That's 2 EPs and a full album in the space of a year and a half. That's of course a lot of content to release. Was this part of the plan initially, or did like the pandemic have a bit of a part to play in that? And what was that kind of thought process?
No, that was always the plan. That was always the plan. We're doing an EP to start with to see how we get on. We found our producer as well at that time, and he got it. He got the vision and everything like that, and got the sound that we wanted to create, which was awesome. And then we went and done another EP. Well, the first EP was just a case of we wanted to record something, go on the road, play it, see what people thought. Yeah. Hopefully they'll all like what we're doing.
It was around that time we quit our day jobs as well. So it was. And then luckily we done the second EP before lockdown. Yeah. And then we were planning to do the album because it was like, we've got to go. We were all in at that point, So we planned to. We had to delay the album a little bit, but we got it out. We wanted to get it out last year because we're now going to start our next album in 2 weeks. We're going in the studio again. Yeah. So we've been like, I think because we can't gig, we've been like, let's get the music down.
Yeah, totally. Just keep writing. Yeah.
It's the best mindset, isn't it? You're moving forward then, aren't you? When everyone else, at a time when you could easily have stood still, you've been able to continually moving forward. And it harks back a little bit to that the 60s, 70s thing where bands had put out albums continuously year after year, So I like the fact you're going more for that retro thing, because I think that mentality really did just continue to push bands and that hard-working dynamic forward back in the day.
Definitely, yeah. And there is something about, especially when you're starting up, to get a record out every year, because like we can even feel already like we're going in a slightly different direction with the next album, not massively, and we wouldn't change anything on the last album, but you can feel yourself like, oh, that was cool then, but this time let's do this. So you can feel progression, which is really cool.
Oh, that's cool. So focusing on the album, We Fly Free came out in November of last year. One of the things that's given you guys such a following is obviously your weekly live streams on Facebook. Did you feel this was an essential part of the promotion of the album and trying to replicate the tour that obviously sadly didn't happen due to another lockdown that happened in December?
Well, I mean, originally we wasn't going to do any live streaming. It was literally, we had, like everybody else, all our gigs were cancelled for the year, and we got pretty much fully booked.
Probably like you guys, cool. We got the live stream. Everyone's like jumping on live stream. It's like, no, can't do that. No, I don't want to do that. So
it's as you know, it's difficult sort of thing to go and stand there and play in front of your phone, isn't it? And then I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. But the first time it was so surreal. Well, it carried on being surreal for quite a while, and now it's just the norm. We've been doing it, a year now, haven't we?
Yeah. Wow. So, but I think it definitely has been a big part of the album promotion. We didn't know it was going to be. No. Like we had like 20 people or something on our first live stream, and and it's just progressed over time. So we definitely didn't think it was going to be a thing.
No.
Yeah, because it's amazing where it is now compared to that first start, And have you guys kind of acknowledged that and then tried to push it a little bit more? Have you always just tried to do what you did from that start, and just try and showcase the sound of the band?
I think. I mean, it's definitely progressed. I watched the first one a little while ago. So.
I know we were like that with the podcast. Our first one. Shit.
I look back at it and I'm like, what happened
right,
there?
get it.
Yeah. What was I thinking?
It's pretty cringy looking back at them. But so I think they've definitely. I'd like to think they've got better since then. I still can't watch. I can't watch them. Aaron watches them.
Well, I can't.
He can.
I can watch the new ones, but not the old ones.
That's what I mean. You watch the new ones.
No. Oh, no.
When we did the album, the title track "We Fly Free." I mean, I love that opening, heavy, harmonically rich slide guitar. Like, I don't know if there's a Hammond in there or whether it's just a really overdriven slide you've got on the go there, man. But it sounds huge. I mean, how was this achieved in the recording process, and what was the recording process like for you guys for the album? Just to give an insight for people that enjoyed the album.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to try and keep it as live as possible, live sounding as possible. And, there is a bit of Hammond in there. You got that one, yeah, totally. But the beginning part is actually a fly flying into the microphone in the bathroom. Yeah,
so it's in the corner of the room.
Oh, so it's in the bathroom.
And a producer was like, "Oh my god, a fly flew right into it." So he was like, turned it back to front.
And the thing is, we wanted something to start the song off, and he just come up with that. It's like brilliant. Yeah,
but
totally.
What's real cool about the studio is it's Adam's house basically, and it's a boathouse, so it's just an open.
Oh, awesome.
Place, and it's got windows all round overlooking the river, so there's no we're used to like the dungeon studios that you come out of and you're like sunlight, so it's really nice. and we wanted to we done like live takes. I mean, we had to redo a lot of the vocals because of just the bleed, because we're all in the same room. But as we got as much of it live as we could in the first takes, so then it was just like messing around with stuff, and a lot of time spent on getting the amp sound right when we done the reamping. But I
thought that was a great vibe doing it on the boat. I bet, like, especially for the sound that you guys do, because it's that authentic, organic thing. I bet doing it on like a houseboat was mint. I bet, like,
it's a boathouse.
Boathouse.
It's like an old shed right next to the river.
Oh right, a boathouse. Right. I immediately
That'd have been really cool, though.
like a house floating down the river.
I mean, it's perfect for the band name as well, isn't it?
The boathouse is probably even cooler and probably a bit more easier to have a studio on as well. So
I mean, you do have more control over.
it's probably right. Yeah, I mean, we recorded our album in Wales, and like for me personally, like similar to what you said, Aaron, I love the stories of Robert Plant wandering around, with Led Zeppelin 2 in particular, and I think the idea of recording in something like a boathouse, it's all that retro kind of vibe and that organic thing. So I imagine you guys just really, draw a lot of inspiration from that when you're recording. How does that relate to this new stuff? What's the vibe with the new stuff?
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of the same to a certain extent. The recording procedure will definitely be the same.
Procedure sounded a bit.
Procedure. Yeah, but it's going to be a tad heavier in places, that's for sure, isn't it? So with a few little different vibes. Yeah,
that's cool. Now, as we prepare for kind of a hopeful return to live music, for those that haven't seen you live, what is When Rivers Meet live experience? Is it like just the two of you, or
I think we've forgotten.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How long ago was that?
Yeah, I know.
It's in the past.
A long time ago of elves and wizards.
For the days.
Well, when we first come out this year, if we're allowed to, that is, we will be going out as a duo, just as a duo. We're going to be supporting King in, is it October or November? October.
Oh, cool.
So, we're just literally just going to be us two.
But Aaron's got a kick drum, which does really beef it up. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And then after that, we've got our headline tour planned for April next year, or starts in April next year. And that's going to be a band. So there'll be drummer, bass player, and possibly, hopefully, keys.
Stroke percussionist, which would be cool.
Percussionist as well, yeah.
Awesome. No, that'll be a cool progression as well, because people that have seen you with King, you either will then be able to see that development onto to seeing it as a full band, which I think will be really cool. No, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, you kind of spoke about it a little bit in terms of the new material. You recently announced the crowdfunding campaign for album 2, and you spoke about the fact that it's going to be a bit heavier. Do you know when the album's going to come out? Because you're literally just going into the studio for the next 2 weeks, but have you got a long-term plan? You said the tour's going to be in April. Is that the plan for the album? You're allowed to tell us?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think we're planning on releasing the album at the end of this year, so October, November again.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Nice one,
Yeah.
man.
We're going to try and squeeze it.
We're going to try and squeeze it in, yeah, for sure. And then that'll, yeah. So we're hoping sort of...
At the latest, it should be November. We're going to be in the studio, let's say, 2 weeks' time, and then we should hopefully be finished by the beginning of August. Should just squeeze it in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, looking forward to it, man. No messing about.
No, I know. One of the things we like to ask people on the show is what their lives are like away from music. So, kind of, what do you guys both get up to? Like, what's your 9 to 5, an average day?
Music,
it's just literally
all day,
music. Yeah.
every day.
I was going to say, with that amount of output, surely there's
it's got to be pure focus on the music.
It's either music-y stuff, so it's like social media or like packing CDs, ordering CDs, checking vinyl, writing songs, walking the dog. That's it.
That's probably the thing that we do the most is walk the dog, isn't it? Other than music
related things, it's just walking the dog.
And maybe sleep now and then.
Definitely.
No, it's good. I mean, a lot of the bands we've spoken to since we started the podcast, we've recently spoken to Brad out Massive, and he's the same. It feels like lockdown has really focused people's priorities on what they want to be spending the time doing. Because we've been limited, and a lot of musicians seem to have just been like, this is who we are, this is what we want to be doing. And I always admire guys that dedicate the time like yourselves to it. I mean, I have to play guitar, when I turn my camera off on the Teams meetings. Do you know what I mean? So it's just to squeeze it in on Microsoft Teams. You know what I mean? So it's I always admire people when you're fully dedicated, because with you guys you can give all your attention to the music, and that's what it deserves.
Yeah, it's good. Good.
So now at the beginning of the interview, I asked you both about the beginning of your journey into music. Is there one musician for you both individually that you take inspiration from more as a performer? I can remember when I was like 13, 14 and doing the old tennis racket. My dad had like an Explorer, had mime to vinyl, and my mum would walk in and I'd shout, "Get out," because I wanted to be Slash when I was 14. For you both, was there one individual that you take inspiration from and draw kind of, different characteristics from in terms of being on stage?
That's a tough one, really. I don't know, really.
Some people don't. They have their own identity.
I can't think of anybody in particular that I'm drawn to in that regard.
With performing, I mean, definitely like vocal stylistically, obviously Paul Rodgers, the bluesy notes he hits and how he does it. I think live, it's probably been like a mixture of kind of pinching off lots of people over time. You know what I mean?
But they always say the best artists like borrow from other people.
Yeah, it all gets recycled somewhere. Yeah. And I know when we first saw the Civil Wars.
Yeah, I was going to say about the Civil Wars. Yeah.
And that even though they're like very much more Americana, toned down stuff, their connection when they were performing was, well, it was actually really bad when we saw them because they split up the next gig, but they didn't actually look at each other. So
that wasn't in a great place.
They actually walked off stage separately. Yeah.
We studied videos of them because when we first heard them, we were like, "Oh my god, we've so got to up our game." The harmonies were just so good.
Oh yeah, amazing.
And it was really depressing actually. Being like,
we thought we were getting somewhere. We saw them. Oh Christ! It's got a long way to go.
We did watch them, and at one point we were really like conscious of like our movements, so that we kind of moved together.
Like, fluidly. Yeah.
Really good point.
Probably.
Yeah, as a duo, I imagine it's a completely different dynamic because you say you want to be in time and you want to see people want to take that connection from the two of you, in the audience. Did you make sure that they split up at that gig then when you kind of clocked the harmonies? Where you're like, right,
we threw something out and said, "No, you're crap."
Throwing cans.
I'll sort them out. They'll be going after this. We'll up our harmonies. We'll be all right. I've never listened to Civil Wars. Civil Wars.
Bart and Holler is their best, sort of Alvain kind of style of music.
Yeah.
But they're so bloody good.
Oh, they're amazing. Absolutely. Yeah.
They're just a connection in their voices. And we
used to think they were together, but they actually weren't. Well, supposedly, anyway.
We don't know.
I think they might have been.
But it definitely, because I mean, our voices, they work together now, but they didn't work together at all. Like when we first started singing together, it was like we were opposite ends of the world. That's what they felt like. You just didn't blend at all. So it took quite a long time to work that out. And they really helped us because we listened to how they done things, and you know.
And the way they interwove with the harmonies and things like that, it's just absolutely incredible. I think, in my mind, they're probably the best vocal duo ever.
Some Garfunkel. Yeah.
I think they're better than Simon and Garfunkel.
Anyway, we digress.
But,
Oh, check them out. Was that difficult for you guys when you kind of touched on it then when you first came together and started the project, and like you say, your voice, because I imagine there was a lot of challenges like that initially, and I imagine when you're excited about the project, like you say, it was like one day, oh, why don't we do this together, you know, and then when you do come together, there are a few challenges and a few hurdles you need to come, like the vocals. Was that difficult to begin with, or did you just kind of overcome them together and that was all part of the progression?
Yeah, I think it was very, very difficult to start with. I can't explain how different the voices were at the time, you know, and trying to get the harmonies, because our harmonies aren't necessarily the normal harmonies, are they? Like a third or a fifth or anything like that. It's just
we have to do. I take the lower harmony an octave higher. It's just we have to work it a little bit different to make our voices blend.
Yeah.
So
And that was a progression.
I'm glad that it did work. It finally worked out, because at times you don't know if we're ever going to get anywhere with it. And so, I mean, I'm really glad that we spent the time doing it now. And there was no other option, because we've both been obsessed with music and performing and playing. And we also, we're really good being together a lot of the time, because it doesn't suit a lot of people. But for us, well,
we're really lucky in that regard, aren't we? I mean, we're together 24/7, so literally.
I've been a complete nightmare today, though. Like a complete
I wasn't going to
nightmare.
say anything.
But since you brought it up.
So I say it's all like lovely, but I have been a real nightmare. So, you know, it varies. But
Did you not walk the dog?
Yeah.
Should have walked the dog. Mate. But it's nice because you can see the connection between the two of you, and then that comes through in the music, you know, and that's all you can hope for, isn't it? You know, and you're offering a completely different dynamic to a lot of bands. You know, I mean, I couldn't stand being with Artwell for 24 hours. Our singer. But yeah, I struggle on a tour, man. Never mind the days, you know. So you've definitely got a connection that's different, you know, and that comes through in the music, definitely.
Oh, cheers, man! Thank you. That's awesome.
Finally, a question that I like to always ask everybody that comes on. It's a bit of a hypothetical one. If you could tour with one band from the past and one band from the present, who would they be? That's quite a difficult question, because one of my favourite bands is Thunder, and they are from the past, but they're still in the present, I suppose. They've just released another album.
Which era do you prefer, Aaron? Of Thunder? Sorry? Which era do you prefer of Thunder?
Could be specific.
I prefer the 90s stuff.
Right, that's interesting.
Early 90s stuff, yeah. I think they had for me their best songs were in the early 90s.
We like the new album.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a bit different, isn't it? Yeah.
We'll let you pick that. I mean, you can give individual answers. We'll let you have Thunder either for the past or for the present, and same with any other bands that are still gigging around.
I would say who are still gigging. I love Rival Sons. I think they're great. They're really
we're big Rival Sons fans.
Yeah, totally.
So, and my one from the past would be Free.
Yeah, it would be Free or Bad Company.
Yeah, Bad Company. Either or. Yeah.
Cool. So who would your modern one be then, Aaron? If we get, so we'll give Thunder to the past. You can have your individual one.
Kaleo, I think.
Who was that, mate? Sorry.
Kaleo, I think.
Kaleo, cool. I'm not.
I love Kaleo.
Yeah, they're great. Good.
No, it's cool. We've had a few people say Rival Sons, Grace. I think they have that perfect balance for me as being modern, vintage rock and roll, as well as having their own like vibe. They're not replicating anything too much, you know. It's their own thing. So
exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'd love that, guys. That bill of you guys like Rival Sons and then Bad Company or Free. I mean, there's rocking. No discredit to yours, Aaron. You know, I don't. We'll have two.
Thunder as well.
Yeah, we'll chuck Thunder in. We'll start about R3.
Yeah.
And if we get people in, we'll get a minibus down. We'll be all right. But yeah, smashing. Thanks ever so much for your time, guys. It was lovely.
Thanks for having us. It's been really cool.
Yeah, it's been really nice. It's nice. One of the things we try and do, like, is just, bringing people together on the scene. Like, we've not gigged together before, so it's just nice to meet you guys and have a bit of a chat, and hopefully we'll see you out on the road.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Definitely.
Don't stroke your beard. Then.
Yeah. And do you know what? I was actually in the pub last night, the first time it opened, and this woman came up to me and was like, "Can I stroke your beard?" I was like, "Well, it's not really with COVID regulations." She was like,
"Not sure what they'd say." Yeah.
She just looked at me and went, "Yes," and then just started stroking it, like completely disregarded. Tried to plait my hair. So if my missus saw that, she's probably dead now. So
yeah, exactly.
Poor girl. Brilliant. For those that haven't checked out When Rivers Meet's debut album, We Fly Free, make sure you give it a spin. The guys still do their very popular weekly live streams every Saturday on their Facebook page, so make sure you get involved and support the band, and hopefully we'll see you on stage soon. When's the King tour? Is it October time?
October, yeah.
Awesome. So make sure you go and check that out and see the guys.
Yes.
Thanks ever so much.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome.
Cheers,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you.
See you in a bit. So yeah, that was When Rivers Meet. Grace and Aaron. It was difficult because every time she said Aaron, I was like a dog in a field. When you get to shout a dog's name, I was like, "Oh, it's my time! It's my time!" But yeah, it was cool. I liked it. I liked the vibe. It reminded me of when we spoke to Heather.
Yes.
From the Nova Hawks, because there's a similar sound there, and obviously she was very focused on that whole organic approach with her and Rex, and it seems like the guys in When Rivers Meets are going for a similar sort of thing.
And I love the where they talked about, they kind of went on this musical discovery together, where she wasn't really necessarily majorly into classic rock, but then he obviously got her more into it. And as you said in the interview, it was like when you have people like that, there's that thing of like, right, okay,
sit down,
and there's like this massive catalogue of bands.
If an alien came down now, right, I know this is the sign off, but I'm dropping big question in the sign off. If an alien came down now and said, right, I want to get into hard rock, classic rock, okay. I don't mind where it's from. It doesn't have to be classic rock. I know some people that struggle with the whole new wave of classic rock because of the term classic. But for me, classic rock is a term from now till the 60s. What 5 bands would you introduce?
That's a big question, isn't it?
You pick 2, I'll pick 3. Go on, because then it's like I'm taking the load. Then in it. For me, I'd definitely say Zeppelin.
Yeah.
It's 1. Who else would you have?
It's difficult, man.
You have Sabbath. It's not. Some people would say
classic rock.
You see, that's the problem, though, isn't it? It depends what the alien wants. If because for me, I think if you're saying like ultimate bands, maybe ultimate rock bands. After the aliens come down and go, ultimate rock bands, ultimate alien voice.
It's very difficult.
I'd have to have Zeppelin, Sabbath. Probably. But you've got to put a heavy one in there now, but that's not classic rock, is it?
See, this is it for me. For me, classic
Depends
rock.
what the alien wants.
I'm gonna
go classic rock.
I'm gonna throw in a new band. Well, I say new. They're new for my age. Rival Sons. I'm throwing it because I don't know.
Got to give them
we talked about it at the end of the interview.
Yeah.
They really like them, and they're a reoccurring theme on the podcast, aren't they? Like a lot of people have spoken very highly of them.
We've probably mentioned it many times, but I think they're one of the few bands that for me feel like a proper new band. Like it's nice for me to follow a band. Like we talk a lot about Blackstone Cherry, and they're obviously a bit on the decline because the last album didn't feel like it was progressing, with no discredit to them. Whereas Rival Sons, it feels like they're growing. Like if you look at them classic bands, every album, take Led Zeppelin. By the time you get to Led Zeppelin 4, Physical Graffiti, Has the Holy, they're in the prime at that point. And they're about 5, 6, 7 albums deep at that point. You've got Rival Sons. You only need one more.
I will say
for this alien,
I'm gonna go old. I'll do basically my question, the one from the past, one from the present, for myself.
For yourself?
Yeah. Unintentionally, I used to add, but I'm going to say Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, it's a good one. I can't believe I forgot Jimmy.
Because it's just so influential.
Can't believe I forgot Jimmy, man. A lot of people are questioning us not picking The Who. Some people question us not making the Beatles, even though I don't class them as classic rock.
Yeah, some would say the Stones.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. So yeah, I mean
so many choices.
Bit of a big sign off, but inspired by the fact that obviously, if you checked out the interview, which you should have by this point, obviously Aaron had to take Grace on that musical journey, and he was chatting about bands like Bad Company 3, which is probably more personal to his taste, But if you had an alien come down now and said, "What is classic rock?" What 5 bands would you pick? I'd probably have Queen in there,
Queen as well.
I'd have Queen instead of Deep Purple. Love Queen, man.
See, it's a difficult question.
Pre-1980 Queen.
Yes, it's a hard question. So I'm going to pass it over to the audience.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, what is your top 5? Classic if you have an alien coming to Earth tomorrow, you have to pick 5 bands. There's the homework for this week.
That's the homework. And if you haven't done it by next week, it's going to be trouble, man.
I know, right?
Kick your shins in.
And on that note, that is for this week. That's finished for this week. You can, if you like us on Facebook, you'll find that a new trailer is out every week with a new guest. And if same on Instagram as well.
Every Wednesday.
Find out. Yeah, every Wednesday.
If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
Yes.
Give the love to the vibe, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, see you next week.
Big love.